You ever wonder why some lawsuits crawl through court while others practically walk on a red carpet toward a settlement? A lot of that speed and success comes down to proof, not just passion, and accessibility consultants are some of the quietest heroes in that proof game. Picture a courtroom drama where the star witness isn't a person at all, it's a measuring tape and a checklist. Accident injury lawyers bring in these consultants to walk through the exact spot where something went wrong and translate the mess into cold, hard numbers. Here's the thing about barriers. They are not just steps or ramps. They can be anything from a doorway that is 2 inches too narrow to a sidewalk crack that turns into a personal Mount Everest for someone using a wheelchair. An accessibility consultant measures all of it with the seriousness of a scientist studying moon rocks. You might think a lawyer just eyeballs a scene and says, "Yep, that looks unsafe," but courts want more than a vibe check. They want documented widths, slopes, heights, and comparisons to actual legal standards like the Americans with Disabilities Act, which most people just call the ADA. Let's simplify that law for a second, since it sounds like alphabet soup. It basically says public spaces need to be usable by people with disabilities, and it sets specific rules, like doorways needing to be at least 32 inches wide. Now imagine a business owner arguing their doorway was totally fine. An expert consultant shows up with a tape measure and proves the doorway was actually 28 inches, and suddenly that argument collapses faster than a souffle in an earthquake. These consultants do not just measure, they also imagine the fix, kind of like architects with a superhero cape. They calculate what modifications are needed, how much they would cost, and how those changes would have prevented the injury in the first place. This is where the words quantify and modify become best friends in the legal world. Quantifying means putting a hard number on the danger, like saying a ramp needed a slope of 1 inch of rise for every 12 inches of length, but instead had a slope steep enough to launch a skateboarder into orbit. Modifying means describing exactly what should be built or changed, like adding a handrail, fixing uneven flooring, or widening a hallway so 2 wheelchairs could pass like it's rush hour on a tiny highway. Lawyers use this data to show a jury that the danger was not just bad luck, it was preventable with reasonably available fixes. Doubt sometimes creeps in here, because people wonder if hiring an expert is overkill for something that seems obvious. But juries are humans too, and humans trust hard data way more than gut feelings, especially when big compensation numbers are on the table. There is also a human side to this that goes beyond blueprints and inch marks. These consultants often specialize in things like vision impairment, mobility limitations, or hearing barriers, so they can explain how a poorly lit stairwell is not just annoying, it is a genuine hazard for someone with low vision. Historically, accessibility lawsuits used to rely a lot on personal testimony alone, kind of like arguing about a movie without ever watching it. Bringing in measurable data changed the game, turning subjective complaints into objective evidence that is much harder to argue against. Some folks think hiring these experts is only for huge national companies getting sued, but smaller local cases use them constantly too. A tiny coffee shop with an unsafe ramp can face the same kind of expert testimony as a giant retail chain because the law does not really care how big your business is. If there is one lesson buried in all of this, it is that preparation beats persuasion every single time. Instead of arguing feelings in court, you win with proof, measurements, and expert insight that practically writes the story for you. So next time you hear about an injury case involving stairs, ramps, or doorways, remember there is probably a consultant somewhere with a tape measure changing the whole outcome. Want to learn more about how this actually works in real cases? Check out our links in the description.